Welcome everybody. My name is Richard BAUR. As you well know, I'm working for Shell Global Solutions. I'm responsible for the hydroprocessing models here at Shell. And there we also use Cape Open, and I'm also chair of CO-LAN. So now you're attending for the next hour the AGM. This is according to the French law, a public event of a non-profit society, where we will give actually the activity report over the last year and also the financial report. And we will have got some votes, and that might be a little bit strange, but only 6 people on this call might be or will be actually allowed to vote and approve the activity report and the financial report, and also changes to the bylaw. And these 6 people are all the full members, so from Air Liquide, Shell, BASF, Dow, BP, and
Linde.
Linde. Exactly. Sorry, Oliver. Almost forgot you. Good. So let's go to the activity report. And it's structured actually in 4 sections. We will give an overview over CO-LAN, over the members, but also introduce the new membership fees. And then the second part will be about usage and awareness. So what we offer with the website, with the forum, with the repositories. And then we have got actually most important special interest groups. And these are the heart of our organization. We will have got only very short summary reports because yesterday and also today the extensive reports are given by the SIG leaders. And last but not least, we also have got our strategic activities. So this is the consultancy service scheme. We worked on the intellectual property and licensing policy and issued that one to formalize what we had before, but also to make it possible that COBIA can be issued with a license. We will talk very shortly and briefly about COBIA, which we got to know yesterday in the first talks, and also about the Cape Ocean version 1.2, as well as the certification, where we also had already some insights by Oliver yesterday. Let's start with giving you an overview over the membership. As of September 2020, there are more than 100 members. We have got 6 full members. These are the members who will vote during the elections after this talk. And these are the only ones who are paying full membership fees. There are 80 cooperate or associated members, where we have got around 50 software suppliers, around 27 academics, 3 public and federal agency, and there are actually quite some people joining CO-LAN as individual members, in total 22. During the last year, we had actually 1 new associate member, and that's Klaus Möller, who gave a very nice talk in Amsterdam during the AGM last year, and who joined now also CO-LAN. There were also some members leaving. Cosmologic was bought by Dassault Systems, so they are not member anymore. And the professor of the Aachen University retired, and with him also the membership in CO-LAN. I think it's obvious that we would like every member to assist CO-LAN's mission and also contributes to the life, which is actually very much the case. Now, we had to think about a new funding model, and to give you a little bit background, I put here in a financial graph in this presentation. Just to explain it, you see the expenses on the left, and you see on the right axis the reserves. The reserves belong to the black line and the black dotted line, and the bars belong to the left axis with the expenses. over the last 5 years, we had actually structurally deficits and losses within CO-LAN, and that's mainly caused by, in the beginning, around 2015, by the consultancy service schemes, also additional activities from Michelle about interoperability testing, 2016 and 2019. But also it becomes more structural when we look actually at the latest developments, where we have got new projects, software projects coming on board, like COBIA, which is extremely successful, as we saw yesterday from the presentations, and also about certification and the test suite, which we want to bring up online. So you will see that also in the financial report, we had around 30,000 loss in 2019, and we expect around 12,000 euros loss for 2020. And even the budget for 2021, which we also will present in the financial report, will be even higher. So we had to do something to stop the trend, because otherwise CO-LAN would be bankrupt by 2022, as you can see from the black line. So our idea, and we had a lot of discussions around that, was also to ask a commitment from all the associated members. And that's why we decided to introduce new membership fees. And we already started this discussion already 2 years ago, and have been also heavily discussing that during the last AGM. But now we would like to implement it. All of this is geared only for the coming 5 years, and in particular is geared also to make sure that we are operating without loss, hopefully after 2022, so that we have got a stable reserve around 30,000 euros. So I just mentioned that one. The new membership fees are mainly there for the next life period of CO-LAN, for the following 5 years. Afterwards, we have to reassess it and see whether this was a success. And it's mainly there in order to sustain the work on our current developments, COBIA, test suite. And what I didn't mention, unfortunately, also Michelle plans to retire at a certain point. We have to think about.
Okay.
Is it good like this?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
To minimize here. So that also means that we would like also to make actually CO-LAN more attractive for new members, also for retaining actually members. And that's why we want to be also much more conscious about the resources with regard to source code and other things, consultancy, and the knowledge which we have, and only make that freely available for the members. And that's what we want to consider. The standards itself, of course, will remain open, and everybody can, irrespective whether member or non-members, can actually implement that Cape Open interfaces. How does it look like, the new annual membership fees? The full members will pay also the 10,000 euros annual fee. We needed to make a distinction between bigger companies and smaller companies, and also individual members who are joining CO-LAN with a lot of enthusiasm. And we decided, and we had a lot of discussions around it, but we decided that it's best to do that and fix that with the numbers of employees. So we distinguish between a group A and B, where any company who provides Cape Open software commercially are requested to pay 2,000 euros if they are more than 20 employees. If they are less than 20 employees, we ask actually for 100 euros per year. Where for the Group B members, we would like to get all the membership fees preferably at once in order to lower our administrative costs. If somebody is resigning the society, and we will pay back the membership fees which has been paid in advance, so that will be refunded. All the remaining associated members are free of charge. We will ask these first membership fees in 2021. And we also decided to write this, the membership down in the bylaws, and that will be voted after this activity report. As mentioned earlier, this was really not an easy decision, and we had a lot of discussions within the board, but also with the community itself. The first response was positive, actually, during the annual meeting in 2019. Afterwards, we actually sent out a request for comments, where we got 16 members answering this request, and we received comments. 15 of these comments were in general positive. There was only one negative response, which was saying there was no business case for this. I think if we summarize all these requests for comments, then two things were highlighted. That with the membership fee, there was also the expectation that the certification and also the test suite would be included in the membership fee. As you noticed yesterday, we had this discussion also during the talk from Oliver, and clearly the test fee will be free for all the members. With the certification, we need to see how much that additional costs are involved for it, and that we have to keep in mind before we make their commitment. There were also understandably also some concerns about the fee structure, in particular the transition between less and greater than 20 employees. And there was also some comments which were saying the larger software providers should even pay a higher fee. So we discussed these, but at the end we stayed with the proposal as presented in the slide before. So we also would like to make sure that we attract new members, and with also the planned developments. So clearly we want to give you a roadmap on Cape Open towards a version 2.0 and beyond that one. We will have got at the end of this meeting the views from Michelle on this. There will be also further development of COBIA, which I think, considering what the M&T SIG and what Jasper and also KPC and RTA, HDRA proven, was a very big success. So we would like to go into phase 3 and also start at a certain point phase 4, which mainly looks at the maintenance. Important for interoperability is certainly also that we establish a certification process. Malcolm takes the lead there and pushes that forward, and we see also there good steps forward that this will be put in place. And of course also the self-test suite. I think these are all areas which really makes it valuable to become CO-LAN member and to retain CO-LAN member. There might be still some members who do not accept the new bylaws with also the new membership fee. I think that will be a big loss for CO-LAN. We always honor actually all the contributions so far to this organization. And yeah, it will be a pity if some members decide to resign. If you do so, please use the resignation form, which is available on the CO-LAN website. Now, coming back to the CO-LAN overview over the last year, the management board consists of the 6 full members, and they are actually responsible for the today running of CO-LAN with, of course, also the help of Brian and Michelle. The management currently consists of me as a president, Philippe as a treasurer, Kat as a secretary, Norbert, Michelle, and Oliver as members. And we always have got 1.5 hours phone meetings. Usually we meet twice a year during physical meetings in advance of this meeting. But that was, of course, with COVID not possible. So we had in the last 2 weeks 2 or 3 afternoons discussions on the phone. As mentioned, Michelle and Brian help very much to keep CO-LAN alive and lively. They actually, Michelle takes care of the communication, of the forum, newsletter, interoperability testing, but he does much more around it, and we are very grateful for that. He also gives his ideas on the intellectual properties policies and really helps the management board significantly. Also, Brian is a very big help. So these Michelle and Brian are, and you see it here on the right a little bit, the split up, how our efforts are distributed, help for the administration. Michelle does and the support and make sure that there is progress. And we have got Michael Halloran, who is extremely valuable for the interop support and also for the software and tools with all his knowledge. Malcolm takes care of the Interoperability SIG, but also helps now to put together actually really a project plan for the certification and for the test suite. So we are very glad to have such a strong team. We have got another strong team, which is more project related. And we have got these days a kind of shell contract in the sense that we have got contracts with Amsterdam, Louis de Roche, French is not so good, Marcus Bruneux, Fernandez Silva, who we can issue individual work orders for certain milestones. And Jasper, Loic, and Marcus will take care of developing the test suite together with Michael Halloran as a consultant. But they will do a lot of the programming and also the quality checks. So these contracts concern COBIA and concerns the test suite and also software services, which would be called and the type libraries. CO-LAN also holds quite some licenses from all the different software vendors. All major software vendors actually contribute to provide their software to CO-LAN for the interoperability testing and also demonstrations. So we are actually also very grateful for that kind of support, and that should be not neglected. In the license agreement, it's always agreed that the testing and the outcome of the testing are kept confidential to the vendor, to our chief technology officer, and to the management board. And we keep that like to this agreement. Let's move to the next topic. That's CAPE Open usage and awareness. Again, there are several articles published which mention CAPE Open. I just, to have something representative, put here 3 of the articles, which really goes from neural networks, where they have some CAPE Open connections, up to CFD and to other things. Very interesting to look at. Please go to our website and have a look for the tech papers. And please also do not hesitate if you make a publication or if you know there was a publication to contact Michelle in order to get it listed on the website. It would be nice to have a very comprehensive list. CO-LAN provides also repositories, and as you know, And these you can access by clicking on the member login link on the website, and there you get to the individual projects and also to other documents which are from the SIG. So we are storing there actually the SIG documents, but also the documents from the management board. Also delivering the software and documentation like the tools like Cold, the type libraries, but also project related deliveries like Cobia examples are stored on that repository. And these repositories are also used actually to manage these kind of software developments. Have a look if you haven't been there since a while. Things are updated continuously. We also have got a website which is mainly maintained by Michelle and Bryn. The website is now HTTPS or holds a HTTPS certificate, so that's obtained from GeoTrust. We have got at the moment over 1,300 posts. You can subscribe actually also to the feed and sign up to the CAPE Open newsletter. Again, we would like to keep our website always as much updated. If you see that things need to be updated, for instance, also about posts about your PME or PMC, please contact Michelle for that, and we will update the website. And we also maintain the CAPE Open entry in Wikipedia, and there were only some cosmetic updates last May made by Bryn. Forum. CO-LAN also provides a forum, and that's mainly for the developers and for the CAPE Open expert to answer and discuss actually different queries. There at the moment around 250 users. So if we compare that to last year, it's an increase of around 50 users. So if we see over the years that this is continuously increasing, and the forum is also continuously active. Similarly, you see the number of topics has been increased, and also the number of posts. If you back calculate that one, you come to approximately 1 post per business year, and that's already like this since years. So this is really a very active community which exchange knowledge on the forum. After the overview over the organization and the dissemination of CO-LAN, let's focus on, as I mentioned before, really the special interest groups. In the special interest groups, we define actually the standards, we discuss them, and we further develop them. That's the main responsibilities of the special interest groups. At the moment, we have got 3 very active special interest group, 1 less active special interest group. The Interoperability special interest group is led by Malcolm. Method and tools, we heard it yesterday from Bill. Thermodynamics from Sergey and from Jasper, and we will have got these reports after the AGM this afternoon. And we have got, of course, also from Krishna Murphy, the Unit SIG special interest group. As I mentioned, the method and tool SIG and the Thermo SIG are extremely active. They have got meetings of around 8 to 6 man-hours per month. And of course, these are only the phone meetings, but there's also much more email exchange, much more work on the documents outside these meetings. So usually, actually, there's the tendency to do much more work. We are extremely grateful, and you also saw the outcome of these two SIG groups is tremendous, with all their impact which they have on CO-LAN. The interoperability SIG is working very continuously, 1 man-hour per month, and also does a lot of work, keeps the type libraries called alive, but also has got a lot of exchange with the method and tool SIG in order to advise the developments there, right? They had been, we will see that later, also working hard on the versioning proposals and on the updates of the new type libraries. The unit SIG meets half man-hours this month. There was a little bit less progress since Q2, but that's something which will pick up again. If we look to the Thermo SIG report, as said, there will be something which will be held after the AGM. There is at the moment a request for comments for the dielectric and refractive index. Also, the work on the chemical reaction interface specifications has started. Use cases has been revised, and there is also a RFC actually ready, which does at the moment not incorporate the manager common interface. As said, you get all the details after the AGM. The outlook is really to respond to the RFC for the chemical reaction interfaces and specification, to develop the manager common interface, and also the documentation on the modification of the incorporated in CAPE Open 1.2. So this modification with the strong data type binding, which is required actually for COBIA, that needs to be formalized and needs to put into a document. The unit SIG has been working hard on the petroleum fractions specification. There is now actually a RFC almost ready, and very happy to see that we will be able to complete that RFC and send it out, and then incorporate the last changes into the petroleum fraction specification. The method and tool SIG, Bill gave an excellent overview yesterday around that one. They had been, in particular, very valuable with the licensing. I think the management board would have been, and I just say it, but Michelle, not able to get such a clear view on how we want to proceed without actually the input of the MNT SIG. So I'm very grateful for all their contributions and the memos which they wrote in order to get this done. They released the COBIA runtime and SDK, so that means that phase 2 is completed. It was designed the COM to COBIA transition of persisted objects, and together with the interoperability SIG, they also worked on a new versioning scheme, which was also partially presented by Bill yesterday. And there also is progress on the design of new interface specifications. So you see a very active special interest group. And the activities for 2020-21, scoping of phase 3. So here we need a clear roadmap, how we develop it in the next couple of years, and then hopefully we also can launch COBIA phase 3. And like earlier mentioned, for the Thermo SIG, there's also the goal to deliver a new textual interface specification. Interoperability SIG, the software development services secured. That means Malcolm was successful in really bringing together a very strong technical team that will allow us to successfully develop a test suite. And the first work has been done with this team together on the type libraries and on code, updating them to Visual Studio 2019, and also the upgrade to a third-party logging tool what concerns cold, what you see the 2 items below. So that was the first things where actually this new team worked on. That resulted also in a knowledge transfer to the contractors, in particular to Marcus Bruno, who was not yet so familiar with all the details around Cape Open and the cold logger. And that has been, he has been helped or guided by Loic and by Jasper. And Malcolm really did a great job to put this team together. And again, I'm very happy that we managed to have them working for CO-LAN. The activities for 2021. So we aim the interoperability SIG aims to have the type libraries and PAAs for 1.1.1 release, which should then include also the flow sheet monitoring and the custom data. And as well the called 2.5 release. That would also include actually the logging on energy and info streams and port and flow sheet monitoring. Let me get to the last part of this presentation, our strategic activities. The consultancy service scheme. There was the consultancy service scheme for AspenTech delivered in December 2019. Quite a lot of reported defects has been resolved and reviewed in Aspen Plus. And hopefully a lot of these learnings can be put on board also in other in the future and in other applications. We also had still an OpenSea consultancy service scheme promoting Cape Open. There were the 2 presentations yesterday from KBC and HDRI. It was actually very nice to see and to hear how easily it is to work with Cobia. And Jasper was assisting with one or the other questions, and that was covered by these consultancy serving schemes. They are still open because still people can call Jasper and not all the hours has been used. So a very nice and successful consultancy service scheme. We did not issue any consultancy service schemes in 2020, and we also have got no plans for 2021. There must be a good case for that one, and the entire community need to benefit from it in order to sanction such a consultancy scheme for the next years. This has also something to do with the budget constraints and with all the other projects coming online. Intellectual property, also mentioned by Bill, and I mentioned it already before. We had a lot of help from the M&T SIG, and in particular here, especially from Michelle, who shaped actually the ideas and put together then a document where we all could agree on. And we had several discussions also in the management board, what way we should go and what is the best one, and what is the best way to define it. You will find actually a copy on the CO-LAN website. Please read it. Let us know if you have got concerns or if you have got ideas how to further improve that one. With the intellectual property, it comes, of course, also the new licensing scheme. I think the main points to take away from there is that the text of specification remains still public, and that will not change. There was really the urge also to make sure that there are no modifications to the type libraries, there are no modifications to the interfaces. We want to be the only, CO-LAN wants to be the only body who, with the special interest group, who are doing any kind of modifications. So we explicitly put that point into our policies, that the specifications are not modified. We also think, since we are now asking also membership fees, we have to make CO-LAN more attractive, and only CO-LAN members should have got full access to all the resources and to all the knowledge and to all the software which has been developed. Of course, all of this applies only to new implementation and not retroactively. We also clarified in the new licensing schemes that explicitly and made explicitly clear that actually the commercial use of Cape Open implementation is allowed, and there is no restrictions on the implementation. The other strategic activity is the Cape Open middleware, COBIA. COBIA phase 2 has been completed thanks to the MNT 6 and also thanks to the implementation from KBC and HDRI, which demonstrated that we have got a working product which can be implemented in commercial software. So we are actually very proud of this. The COBIA runtime and software development kit distribution packages has been created. They are publicly available and also usable for commercial software implementations. There is also for the developers a symbol server available, so COBIA, if necessary, can be debugged. And we also hopefully can start with the COBIA phase 3 next year. Certification. For the certification, Malcolm has assembled, as I mentioned already before, a strong team for the development of the test suite, which consists of Jasper, Loic, Marcus, and also Michael Holleran. I think there we have got a lot of very experienced programmer who can bring the test suite forward, hopefully as quickly. So there is also work done by Malcolm on the commercial aspects to the certification. And as we stated already before, clearly the test suite will be free for all the members, and reduced certifications fee for members. Non-members will be charged much more. But with the certification fees, we first have to establish what will be the process and how much resources that requires. Coming to the last strategic activity, that's the Cape Open Standard version 1 themselves. So we have published the Cape Open Standard version 1.2, and that is implemented only in COBIA and that was also done in order to get the implementations for COBIA out. Clearly, the interoperability, and I think we have to stress that, is achieved via Cape Open or with Cape Open 1.1 through COBIA. So this is not a restriction of any kind to use COM components. The outlook for Cape Open version 2. The idea is to have one IDL, which will be written for COBIA, and actually the COM IDL will derive from this. This is something which will be work in the future. And of course, there will be also some remaining scope to be defined and integrated in Cape Open version 2.0. These will be the learnings from the version 1.2, which we just released. But we also, or the MNT SIG and the interoperability SIG needs to consider whether we want to have the numerical interfaces and other interfaces which are currently defined but not commercially used within the Cape Open Standard 2.0. So the idea is to have a more compact Cape Open version which is continuously maintained. We also think about some upgrades to Thermo and to the at SIG. So you see a lot of things happened in 2019. So if we look back actually to the milestones we set during the last AGM, then certainly there were a couple of things which we could achieve, some not, and there were also some additional achievements which we had. One thing which we will achieve after this talk is we decided, all the 6 full members decided actually to extend CO-LAN for another 5 years. So we made the modifications to bylaws, we made a new funding model, and we believe that we have got a good perspective for the following 5 years. And it will be worth to undertake this journey. CAPE Open certification. We started to develop a business model. Unfortunately, we were not able to develop the test suite, but we have got now really a strong team, which will start actually, hopefully early this year or early next year, in order to develop the test suite. COBIA, I think clearly phase 2 is completed. It's not only a prototype anymore, it's a commercial use. I think it's a big success, and we're looking forward to start COBIA phase 3. Additional achievements, clearly we issued an IP policy. We were able to make the licenses or issue them, and we also published actually CAPE Open 1.2. So what are the goals for next year? We want to retain the current and attract new members. So we want to be sure that all the CO-LAN members remain in CO-LAN and that we strengthen our organization with the new funding model. CAPE Open certification. We want to develop the test suite, and also we would like actually to get things going with COBIA phase 3, the scoping, and also start with it. And then, of course, we also need to think about CAPE Open 2.0 and beyond. That starts with finalizing and publishing the versioning scheme and also developing a roadmap. That brings me at the end of my presentation. Are there any questions?